Hello, good to have you again on the program. Of course, it is the economy today, and this day, like every other day, we'll talk the economy and the things that have to do with it. And so, Lou, I have a guest today on the program, and that guest is a very special one, I must say, because he is an inventor, he is a scientist, he is an economist, he is an engineer, of course, he is an engineer, and then he is also a politician. He is into all this, yet he's mastering it all. Okechukwu onubogu here. I'll get to make you know the guest, but before we talk about the guest, I want to get straight away into what has to do with the stock exchange. And when we finish all this, then I'll talk about letting you know the guest of mine. The market capitalization hits 72.79 trillion, and so. Despite a shortened trading week due to public holidays, the Nigerian equities market extended its positive momentum as the benchmark NGX All-Share Index rose by 0.71% week on week to close at 115,429.54 points. Then this lifted the year-to-date return of the market to 12.5%, reinforcing investor confidence in equities and relative macroeconomic stability. Market capitalization followed suit, appreciating by 512.52 billion naira to settle at 72.79 trillion. Analysts at Cowrie Assets Management noted that the gain, though modest, was significant in the context of the subdued market activity, reflecting underlying bullish sentiments and investors' continued preference for risk assets in anticipation of macroeconomic tailwinds rather. However, the week's performance came amid lower trading activity. A total turnover of 2.057 billion shares, worth 51.015 billion naira, was recorded in 65.016 deals, marking a 35.77% and 32.31% decline in volume and value, respectively. Compared to the previous week, despite this dip in liquidity, the number of deals inched higher, suggesting increased interest in mid and small cap stocks. The financial services sector led the activity chart with 1.06 billion shares valued at 26.37 billion naira, accounting for over half of the total turnover. It was followed by the services of consumer goods sectors, Tantalizer PLC, Access Holdings PLC, and Zenith Bank PLC were the most traded equities, jointly accounting for 693.55 million shares, worth 9.96 billion naira. Investor sentiment was broadly positive as 55 stocks advanced, up from 53 the previous week, and while 39 declined and 54 remained unchanged. Leading the gainers chart was Legend Internet PLC, which appreciated by 32.7%, followed by Berger Paints 30.73%, and Ella Lakes 27.35%. On the flip side, John Holt PLC shared 18.42%, while Industrial and Medical Gases Nigeria and RT Briscoe both declined by double digits. Sector performance was mixed. The NGS Consumer Goods and Industrial Goods indices rose by 1.32% and 1.21% respectively, buoyed by renewed interest in firms like Berger Paints, Dangote Sugar, and May and Baker. Conversely, the oil and gas index dipped by 1.22%, dragged by sell-offs in corn oil and Aradel. The insurance and commodity indices also posted slight losses. Cowrie projected a mildly bullish trading activity to persist for the coming week, particularly if the anticipated May inflation figures confirm a declaration. A positive inflation surprise could strengthen investor appetite for equities while rendering fixed income assets less attractive in the near term. That's what the Cowrie Assets noted. And then we'll still go on to say that from the bond market. The federal government of Nigeria, FGN, market experienced strong buying interest, especially in the mid and long-term segments. This drove the average benchmark yield down slightly to 18.50% on Friday, compared to 18.51% the previous week. Yields on government bonds continued to decline across the mid-section of the curve, with notable investor activity in the 2031 and 2033 maturities. This buying interest was fueled by limited supply in the primary auction market. At the short end, however, average yields increased by 1 basis point due to profit taking, particularly on the FEB 2028, that is a bond, which rose by 2 basis points. In contrast, yields at the mid segment fell by 5 basis points, driven by strong demand for the July 2024, that is JUL 2034 rather, bond, which saw a significant 25 basis points drop. As a result, the overall average yield across the curve decreased to 18.82%. Looking ahead, investors expect supply to remain tight as the Debt Management Office DMO prepares for its June primary market auction, which will conclude the second quarter borrowing plan through the domestic debt capital market. Well, that's just what we have for that now, and we still have a whole lot more. There are different segments, as you know. We want to look at the capital market right away, not just the capital market, but then the exchange rate right away. Let's look and see what it is like. The US dollar still remains at what we were looking at, 1,535 if you're buying and 1,536 if you're selling. Remember, this is not what it is from the black markets thing. I'm talking about the CBN exchange rate. And then the Great British pound rather is at 1,928 when you're buying, at 1,929 when you're selling. The euro has been at this for a while, and it's 1,597. And when you're buying at 1,597 as well when you're selling. The Swedes, 1,696, same way buying or selling, though there are little changes in the very minute forms. Then the CFA, as always, I keep wondering why the CFA will be this way, but then I'm yet to be effectively informed why it keeps this way, the way it is. But then the RUA, the Real, the Rand from South Africa, and the others, they are all there for you to see and know what's involved. Well, that just has to do with the exchange rate. If you go to the black market, it's not what you're seeing here. It could be something else. But then it will be a slight difference, because the central bank is also controlling and ensuring that it maintains the way it shouldn't be too high. Oh well, that's for those ones right now. Maybe we'll just take time out and look at the oil market immediately and round this off together. What do you think? Let's take the oil market and look at it and see what is involved in it right now. In the oil market, the West Texas Intermediate is $72 per barrel. It's a little decline, 0.52 decline, and Brent crude is $73 per barrel. 0.53 decline, and the percentage is 0.77 and 0.75. Then the Murban crude is at a positive stage, talking about $73 per barrel, and it's 0.16% increase. While the burning light still remains where it's been. As we always say, burning light comes and stays permanent for a long while before we hear anything again about it. But we're hoping it will remain, because we've had about 76 for a while now, but then what is still the official thing is 78.62. We'll look into it some more later and find out more about it. I know that this decline that you're seeing there is the decline that happened about 8 months ago. But we're working with that, looking at it. We cannot let our own country's own oil go. We'll still talk about it anyhow. Welcome again. Now, the person that's my guest, as I mentioned, is an inventor, first of all. He has a beautiful name. You know why I'm saying that? if you remember one foreign name that is a great inventor, then it's close to what we have in our own. And that's our own is one that is seated here with me today. I'm talking about Michael Friday, an inventor, a scientist, an engineer, and a politician. He's wearing so many crowns really this time, and he's here to talk about Nigeria's economy because he understands the story of the economy perfectly well. He is also an entrepreneur. Good to have you on the program, sir.
Thank you. Good morning.
Right. Michael Friday, your name rings a bell. every time we want to talk about business and some investments and all that, invention, we remember Michael Faraday. Then here we have Michael Friday doing the same thing. How do you feel about these names, these closeness of these two names? Let's begin with that.
Yeah, you know, sometimes certain things happen in life that look like maybe how it is ordained by God.
Yes.
Because I was born on Friday,
okay.
and my father is Michael, and I just came about the name growing
Michael
up.
Friday, yes.
And I was tech savvy right from maybe infant, not knowing that somebody like Michael Faraday existed anywhere because there was not internet days and all of that.
Yes.
And growing up, I think I get to know about Michael Faraday for the first time in my secondary school. I think at while we're preparing for WAEC.
Okay.
And something popped up, and the teacher called a name, and I jumped up. I said, "I'm here, sir." And I said, "I didn't call. What do you mean?" And I said, "You called my name." He said, "I didn't call your name. I was talking about a scientist."
Okay.
And lo and behold, the similarity was like, this is who I am as a science student already, and I'm hearing about
another scientist,
another great scientist that has once lived on the planet.
The planet Earth,
and I can tell you, it spurred me the more to know about this person, Michael Faraday. And somehow so good, I am living up to the name today and bearing the name rightly. Thank you.
Yes. You're also doing inventions and all that.
Yeah.
It's good to have you, really, sir.
Thank you very much.
Looking at the topic we have for today, it is Nigeria's economic challenges, and we're looking at the way forward. First of all, do you believe that there are challenges in the economy of Nigeria today?
Enormous challenges.
Okay.
Even the greatest economies of the world, they talk about America, the #1, the Chinese, the Japanese, and so on and so forth. You know, a challenge is always there, but how you manage the challenge is one of the things that we have to look at. Anything that is void of challenge will never have a solution or a stable ground. So I want to believe that the Nigerian economy is challenged with so many issues that are left unattended to, or not being given proper what it needs to make it come back and then in a manageable form. If you look at this, the spike in foreign exchange over 2 years ago now, you see that Nigeria economy is a system that beats the law of nature, that says whatever goes up must come down.
Yes.
But if you look at our inflation challenges and our economic challenges, whatever goes up in Nigeria tend to stay up there. And at the end of the day, you ask this question: why are we where we are? Every economist today would tell you that Nigeria economy is this way because of over-dependence on oil, the fiscal deficit, the high inflations, unemployment, and what I feel. But from my own personal perspective, I want to say this, and with all sense of humility, that we are looking at the wrong direction, because you look at so many countries today, they move from zero to stardom, depending on a mono economy like oil.
Yes.
Take example like Qatar today, the UAE and all of that. But this is a country where we have enormous and abundance resources, name it, from rare earth materials, which is one of the core economic backbone of China today, and several other deposits that we cannot even number them in Nigeria. But if you want to look at the Nigerian challenge today, it's not all about government. It's not all about who is ruling. It's not all about the party that is in power. It's all about we being patriotic enough to defend the economy.
Yes.
Why did I say that? If we are getting whatever it is we are getting from oil revenue today, you look at the oil revenue, is more than enough to take Nigeria to her next level. But at the end of the day, the processes, the leakages, and so many things that are that have become like an epidemic on our economy will not allow whatever we are gaining or getting from this deposit or these blessings from God to give us what we are looking for. Ordinarily, with what we have today as a nation,
yes,
we can depend on oil alone and develop other sectors. You look at UAE, for instance, they took up in the 70s with just oil. Today, I can tell you that whatever their tourism is giving them is almost superseding, overriding whatever they are getting from oil. Even though oil is still there backing them up, but you can agree with me that their tourism, hotels from wonderful site and what I feel that you can talk about is now a stable income that no one can even look at what oil is giving to them today. Okay. We can achieve that in Nigeria, but you cannot get $2 billion from oil and then even 200 million, or maybe let's say for just a simple analysis that Nigeria is gaining 100% from that revenue, and at the end of the day there is nothing anyone can do about it if we are not patriotic enough to use what is meant for Nigeria in Nigeria and for Nigerians. And at the end of the day, we will be going in cycle. We look at today as an engineer, as a scientist, yes, we have hundreds of research centers in Nigeria today. Where are our products in the market? It's a question.
Where are our products in the market? Okay.
Despite all the research centers we have, multiple universities, numbering over 250 universities, exactly, and all of that. Where are our products from our scientists, from our engineers, from what I feel today in the market?
I have really bothered about that. It's really worried me many years back, why we will have so many research institutes and research units of universities and all that, and they will once in a while bring some wonderful program they have researched on and told us about it, like maybe something you use to cook and they have got something, or a product that is something that is something that could be edible and they are finished with it, or some other one that would help be an aid to education. They have talked about it and they will conclude we will never see it anywhere. What is the problem?
Okay, let me shock you with this information. I got my first set of patents right in Nigeria here, okay, since 2008. If you look at the history of mobile technology,
yes, I
can tell you that a kind of dive into what mobile technology was all about as far back as 2006, 2007.
Okay.
By 2008, I had already succeeded in developing my first iPad.
Okay.
Which comes with dual OS, fingerprint, and all of these things they are celebrating today.
Today, yes.
But after spending so much fortune, personally, and then I reach production stage, then we don't have any manufacturing centers in Nigeria that can give me what I want.
Yes.
And then I moved to China. At the end of the day, I contacted about 2-3 companies. The only company that agreed to give me 100% of what I wanted was Foscom.
Okay.
Foscom was then manufacturing mobile phone for Apple. And I tried everything possible, and then they said the minimum unit they can manufacture is about 100,000 units per production. Now, you are talking about a device that will cost you about $150 per each. And then you have to produce 100,000 units before you can hit market.
Yes.
On the other side, no bank to back up. Who will even believe your dream?
Not even your government.
Not even the government can raise such money. No individuals in Nigeria will say, oh, this thing is going somewhere. I need to dive into it and make this dream come to pass.
Yes.
And then I was left alone in the wilderness of my thought. And with that, I returned back with my product. Surprisingly, toward the tail end of 2010, watching CNN one morning, I saw Apple launching the iPad,
which was your original program.
Yeah. The shape, the design, and everything was like I copied their technology. Meanwhile, it's like they copy my technology.
Of course, because yours came out many years before theirs. But because they had the financial backing and the name, the cloud, it made a difference.
It made a difference. And then, come to think of it, how many millions of those iPads have been sold today in the market? Mine never see the light of the day till today. Because I can raise $10 million, $20 million to move to market with this product. Not that we don't have some of these beautiful products, but the backing, the market is not there. We don't have investors that will come up and say, oh, this idea look good, I will risk it.
Yes.
Some people will tell you, oh, if I give you this money, how many years will you return my money back to me? If you don't even believe in what you want to market, how do you make gains out of it? Listening to you just now, the first on the line of the capital market is an internet company. I've forgotten the name you mentioned. And that is to tell you that ICT is taking the lead.
Yes.
The losers are even the oil sector.
Yes, they are.
And that is where we are depending on as a nation. So you see the trend, the changes is very, very dynamic. So the earlier we understand where the world is tinting toward, the better for the nation at large. Because oil may not last us forever. Electric vehicles and what I feel, everybody is tinting toward green economy and so on and so forth. So we cannot just continue to sing a particular song that was delivered to us since in the 50s, and we think that we are going to be relevant economic wise in the next few years to come, or in the next few decades. So my cry to Nigeria is how we can checkmate the leakages we have, the deficit, fiscal deficit in government. You can imagine, as a family man, if your salary is 10,000 naira and your expenditure is 50,000 naira in a month, I don't think you can end that particular month without borrowing, without looking for elsewhere to sustain your lifestyle. So if we can have a change of attitude toward harnessing the blessings that God has bestowed upon us, I think we will have a better economy to live for our children, and then reposition.
We were talking about Legend International PLC.
Yeah, Legend
Internet. Yes, thank you so much.
Yeah.
Well, that is the way it is. I believe that this dream will not die until it is perfected.
Never. It will never die. It will never die.
So that explains his being an inventor, because he has already invented this thing we're looking at many years back, before even others started doing it. A Nigerian, if we were to be in, do we say, developed climes, they won't let it die. They will want to put in everything, even the government of the land, as well as some financial institutions. But our own financial institutions, I don't know, because when we ask, most of the time, they will tell you that they are business fellows, they are here to make money. Well, we hope that we will get beyond this sometime, and people like Michael Friday will see do a whole lot more, because this is just one of the many things you are supposed to bring out, and we'll follow. Yes, okay, we will just take a break here, getting to another segment of this program, and we'll return. And we have what we normally refer to as our news beats. We have the news beats to go on air at a time like this. Let's take the news beats, and afterwards we still have others, but first of all, the news beats right now.
The Central Bank of Nigeria, CBN, injected $580 million into the foreign exchange FX market in May 2025 as part of aggressive efforts to stabilize the naira and bolster market confidence. This intervention came despite a continued decline in the country's external reserves, which stood at $38.045 billion by the end of May, raising concerns over the long-term sustainability of such measures. Market data reviewed by the analyst show that the central bank's intervention aimed to relieve pressure caused by strong dollar demand and declining oil revenues, which had pushed the naira to its weakest levels in the first half of May. At one point, the exchange rate reached 1,614 naira per dollar. However, the CBN's swift response, combined with inflows from exporters and foreign portfolio investors, led to improved FX liquidity and a modest recovery in the naira. According to the ICO Capital Limited, the local currency traded within a relatively narrow range of 1,575 naira to 1,610 naira per dollar throughout the month, closing at 1,586.15 naira per dollar, a 66 basis point improvement over April levels. The central bank's move was in line with the strategy of direct sales to authorized banks, which has become a key policy lever for managing short-term volatility. While the intervention helped reduce panic and maintain a semblance of exchange rate stability, expert warned that relying on external reserves to support the naira may not be sustainable without a corresponding increase in dollar inflow. The CBN shown its willingness to defend the naira, said one market analyst, but the concern remains: how long can it continue this level of support without significantly depleting reserves? The federal government has unveiled plans to rehabilitate the Wawa Zange Grazing Reserve in Gombe State as part of ongoing efforts to transform Nigeria's livestock sector and restore grazing reserves across the country. Minister of Livestock Development E.D. Meha disclosed this during an inspection visit to the reserve. He said the project will revamp dilapidated infrastructure and reposition Wawa Zange as a sustainable hub for livestock development. According to the minister, the rehabilitation will focus on critical infrastructure such as road networks, a veterinary clinic, classrooms, solar-powered energy systems, primary health care facilities, and most importantly, water supply for both human and animal use. Describing the 1,444,000 hectare reserve as a strategic national asset, Meha noted that Wawa Zange is home to over 5,000 herders involving both livestock rearing and crop farming. By every standard, these residents deserve the full amenities of a modern grazing reserve, he said. He added that the revitalized reserve would also support breed improvement centers, pasture cultivation, and other livestock services aimed at discouraging seasonal migration of herders. He added that the revitalized reserve would also support breed improvement centers, pasture cultivation, and other livestock services aimed at discouraging seasonal migration of herders. He quoted, "Wawa Zange should come back to life. We want this reserve to become a model of sustainability," end of quote. On addressing farmer herders' tension, Meha said the government would adopt a collaborative rather than confrontational approach. Instead of displacing farmers who have encroached on the reserve, he said both parties will be encouraged to share land resources. Under this arrangement, he said farmers would provide crop residue as feed for livestock while herders supply manure to improve soil fertility.
Well, we see what has to do with, from the news bit anyway, what has to do with some of it we've talked about from the central bank and the grazing world. Something beautiful coming up that way. And that will be good, because if we do this and there is effective ranching, and even if there's going to be any grazing, it will be done within a secluded area. That's okay. That's okay. That will be beautiful. I know that there are a lot that we still need to do concerning all those things, even in this country, and we're working towards seeing it all happen. I wouldn't forget to say special thanks to Princess Ekezie Okoli for voicing that, and of course we'll still continue with the rest of the things we have. I still have my guest. And that guest of mine is someone, as I said, is special. I'm talking about Michael Friday. He is an inventor, he is a scientist, he is an engineer. Of course, an engineer is a scientist, quite all right. But then he is all these put together. He is an entrepreneur. There's another side of him. He's a politician. And he is also someone that is that has a heart to support people who are also doing things that are meaningful. So he's a philanthropist. We'll go ahead to talk. And looking at the fact that the economy, in fact, you have mentioned a lot of things about the economy and the way we have not really made effective use of diversification. Let's use the word diversification. You know, looking at the Southeast, there is still oil. I just came back from the Southeast a few days ago. I noticed that there is still oil, very, very much oil, you know, much of it in that area. People are still bringing out this oil, in spite of the fact that we're seeing so many adulterated red oil today, you know, palm oil. We're seeing people doing some adulteration, mixing the oil with selling things, but I saw the real thing too, the way it used to be. And a few months ago, I was in Edo State. I also saw something good about the oil working out there. There are many plantations they have there, and that's good. But we still know that oil, this red oil, this palm oil, is what is needed everywhere, all over the country. But when you talk about the price, it becomes a problem. I mean, I don't know whether it's because of this importance of it that they are doing the adulteration or what. I don't understand. Then that's for the oil. You look at tin is still working in the north effectively. Look at groundnut. I'm one person that likes eating groundnut a whole lot, and so I know about what happens to it. Recently, a few days ago, I was told that the price of groundnut is going up the more, and I said, "Oh my God, is it not the same country that had pyramids of groundnut that are telling me this thing? That a bottle of groundnut, the normal bottle that we normally buy, has moved from 500 naira to 700 naira to 1,000 naira to 1,002, 1,005, 2,000, 2,005 right now. That's what I've been buying it. Though a neighbor of mine I was talking with yesterday said, I've even bought it for 3,000. I said, no, it shouldn't be that way. Let's not encourage people that want to hike the price just for any reason they have. I still maintain getting it at 2.5 and all that, but it's still the groundnut we have here. We can't talk about the cashew nut because that one is something else. I have bought cashew nut for 500, 700, 800, 2,000. Right now, I bought cashew nut, the bottle, for 8,000 naira. And these are the things we have that we can work on effectively to help diversify the economy. But even the local producers can't even get enough for us to consume. What is happening?
Well, that is when you talk about government policies. You know, if you look at it, the Nigerian case holistically, the government, which is, I always say that government is next to God.
Yes.
Because whenever her citizens are feeble, what they cannot do for themselves, and what they cannot achieve ordinarily, we look onto government.
Yes.
And to me, as a person, I want to say this, that our challenges are interconnected. And we need a holistic approach of policies that can change these challenges we are facing today. You go to my state, Kogi State, for instance.
Okay.
We have a whole lot of cashew plantations that were not planted per se, but naturally grow in the villages and what have you and all of that. And then you come to see the Chinese, the Indians hustling for this cashew nut, and they take them away in thousands, and I don't even see much of those processed ones coming back into the country.
Even the ones they take away, how much do they take it away at? It's at peanuts.
I'm going to get there.
It's for peanuts.
Now, you are telling us now that you buy a bottle for 8,000 naira.
Yes, the current price.
And I will tell you that if at all we know what these people use this cashew for, definitely not for eating alone.
Yes.
Because they buy them in tons of thousands of tons, and they take them away. And you don't see any of the processed one coming back into the country. Nigeria. That is to tell you there's something else they are using these things for, that we don't even know the value of what we have. So, but if there are policies in place, there are some things now in China that you cannot export to other country. It's a law. This is a place I've been used to since 2006.
Okay.
And I can tell you that. So we need a coordinated, well-coordinated policies that can checkmate some of these challenges we are facing today. Look at our mining sector. When you talk about diversification, the rare earth materials we have, you see few countries that separate themselves now from France, from other places.
Yes.
Their uranium and so many deposits are now working for them.
Yes.
But in Nigeria, all you need to do is with our, I'm sorry to say this, with our archaic laws of mining and all of that. All you need to do, go there, locate a site, get a mining license. The annual return that you return on that mining license or the renewal is a peanut. And whatever you get from this particular portion of land or deposit belong to you 100%.
Whatever you want,
do with it. How many of us are mining? Most of them, 99% are Chinese, are Indians, and what have you. And whatever they are getting from our land belong to them 100%. They just pay talking to the federal government. In China today, all of these rare earth materials are on exclusive list. You dare not go near. It belongs to government. At every site, even if you have been given a license to mine, there are weighbed, there are government staff monitoring whatever you are doing, and then the bunch of the percentage goes straight to the federation account, and then you take your own. And then today, I can tell you that the economy of China is second to none, because if you look at their internal development, this is a country that is well developed to their teeth. And here we are in Nigeria. We have what it takes. We have more than enough. But these things are not serving us enough because we don't have a back. We don't have the right policies that we use that can checkmate the activities of the incomes being earned from all of these things, and then the proceeds goes to individuals' pocket. If you don't talk about corruption, you talk about leakages in other ways. If you don't talk about accountability, you talk about nonchalant attitude of the government not to even to take this, and once you get a little, you close your eye.
Exactly.
So it is just something that we need to encourage ourselves, encourage the government to change the narrative. And there is nothing we individuals can do. All these things lies on the shoulders of our government to change the policies and make things work for the nation.
We'll still talk more, but before we continue, I also want us to take another segment of this program. We have 4 to 5 segments on a daily basis whenever we're on the program. And so we interject our discussion with this other segment. So right now, let's take the one we have from the business news.
The World Bank has allocated $40 million to support the expansion of financial protection for the poor and vulnerable Nigerians under a new loan-backed health program approved for the country. Based on report, the loan project, which was approved on September the 26th, 2024 by the World Bank, includes a $500 million credit facility from the International Development Association and a $70.01 million grant from the Global Financing Facility. The program, officially titled Human Capital Opportunities for Prosperity and Equality Health Program for Results, is expected to run until June 30th, 2029. According to a World Bank document, the $40 million allocation is tied to disbursement-linked indicator of the program, which seeks to increase financial protection for poor Nigerians through health insurance and related schemes. In addition to expanding financial protection, the program also supports the deployment of public health fellows to all 774 local government areas, the implementation of digital health platforms, and the scale-up of maternal health innovations, especially in underserved and climate-vulnerable states.
Nigerian women remain a fundamental pillar of the economy, operating across rural and urban spaces, often without formal recognition. The absence of structural investment in education, health, and enterprise has contributed to the economic exclusion. This meeting, organized by the Abuja Chamber of Commerce and Industry, is aimed at finding ways to address this problem. Speaking at the meeting, the Minister of Budget and Economic Planning, Senator Abubakar Atiku Bagudu, stressed the importance of crafting a national economic framework that rewards effort and expands opportunity, particularly for women to remain the bedrock of household.
5-year development plans, as well as our renewed hope agenda, which Mr. President contested and got elected upon, recognize the importance or the urgency, not just the importance, of including everyone, especially a fundamental force in our national economic life who have demonstrated efforts, and the most equitable distribution of a resource is to ensure that those who put in effort are rewarded because they have done the necessary minimum to be acknowledged. And the Nigerian women are, in that wise, have demonstrated their capacity, because all across 36 states of Nigeria are hardworking women.
On her part, the Minister of Women Affairs, Hajiya Iman Suleiman Ibrahim, endorsed a working definition adopted by the ACCI, which classifies women-owned businesses as sole proprietorships where women hold at least 51% ownership.
Let's remind ourselves of what's truly online, because this isn't just about technical classification. It's about recognizing women as engines of economic growth. When women thrive economically, families eat, children go to school, and communities are safer and more secured. We must remove the structural and procedural hurdles that block women from accessing capital, accessing markets and opportunities. And this starts with a clear and inclusive definition, recognized by all. This conversation is not only about defining business categories, but it is about defining our values. It is about saying to every Nigerian woman, we see you, we recognize your enterprise, and we are creating spaces for you to grow.
On his welcome address, the ACCI Director General, Agabaidu Jidani, called the move to define women-owned businesses a bold and necessary step to make Nigerian women visible to the systems designed to support them.
The national women-owned business definition will enable targeted support, disaggregated data, inclusive policies, and effective programming for women entrepreneurs. This is the foundation upon which greater access to finance, business formalization, and economic growth can be built.
Others urge the integration of this definition into national economic and investment strategies, including procurement policies, tax reforms.
The importance of a national definition for women-owned businesses cannot be overemphasized. It is a foundational step towards building inclusive economic systems. It ensures uniformity in policies, funding, and support programs. It helps in data collection, research, and tracking women's economic contributions. It prevents misuse of women-owned label by non-qualifying businesses.
According to them, recognizing and formally categorizing women-led enterprises will not only empower millions of Nigerian women, but also strengthen the country's economic resilience, improve.
Well, that's from the business news, and so we're getting it all together to ensure that it's a full package that you receive from us this time. You come on air with us, and to ensure that your time is not wasted in any shape or form. We're still here. I still got our inventor in-house with us, and I'm talking about Michael Friday. And he has been giving us things that have to do with how we can overcome these economic challenges. There are so many challenges, and with what he's saying, there are many solutions too. Only if we have policies that will make them work and work out fine for us. And looking at inflation, I want to hear from him. Inflation in the country at a time like this. Some people deny, but many people accept that such a thing is happening. How do we see it? How do you see it? And what's the way forward?
Well, if you want to talk about inflation, like I did mention earlier, Nigeria is a place that inflation cap is it beats the law of nature, like I said earlier.
Yes.
That it goes up and never comes down.
Never comes down.
But definitely, there are things to be done that can checkmate how people bring in things and how they sell it to the masses. Look at Lagos State, for instance. Recently, their state assembly passed a law that nobody pays house rent beyond 1 year. And then also try to fix a cap for how much should be paid for particular properties and all of that.
Yes, in particular areas too.
Yes, it looked difficult that it was not going to be achievable. But because the will is there, and the governor and the state assemblies were determined, today it's effective. And establishing the mobile court and whatever they are doing, if any landlord mandates you to pay more than a year, you can voice out, and then they take on the landlord, and then the building will be confiscated and taken away from you. You lose your land and what have you, and all of that. And if you look at it, it's working out. That is why anything we talk about today, we look at the government side. In some developed country too, like America, you run to pay your bills to government because you know that the consequences of not paying is worse than going to pay on a normal ground. For instance, something that will cost you, the penalty will cost you 200,000 naira, and the actual rate is just 50,000. Nobody will advise you to wait until. And then there are programs in place to make sure that people that default are properly fished out. I want to give a very funny scenario to one of my inventions many years back. I went through, permit me to mention the name, VIO. And that day I was driving around Beggar roundabout, and one VIO officer jumped into a vehicle and almost got killed by the moving vehicle and all of that. And I said there are things to be done. And I went ahead to develop a device for them that everybody can just subscribe the way you buy your plate number. They fix it on your vehicle, or you have a reminder, whatever alert, and then when you are to renew, if you don't renew and they give you like a month or 2 month grace, this system has the capacity to shut down, immobilize your car after series of warning and all of that.
Yes.
And then you don't have to have officers on the road to pursue vehicles, and which they cannot even recover 60% at the end of the day.
They can't even recover 40%.
Yeah, after an elaborate presentation, finished product, ready to be tested on vehicles and all of that. So one of the team lead now asked me a question. So if we accept this technology and then we install it, and then what happened to those that stand on the road pursuing vehicles? They will lose their job and they will go to the market, and then it will become a problem. I said, no, we can as well create
something else for them.
Work for them. They can sit in their vehicle, monitor every vehicle passing that may have maybe bypassed the system or whatever.
Yes.
And at that point, they can now take on the person on a higher sanction and what I feel.
Yes.
So we are not going to take them off the street completely, but they will in fact advance them into a better way of monitoring this instead of risking people's life and all of that. To be sincere with you, that product was never accepted. So if you look at some of these things now, how do we move forward from all of these challenges when we don't even believe in some certain technology that can ease the ways of doing things?
Oh, what a pity.
It's a
big pity, because
it's a big challenge.
What you brought would have been a beautiful way of making things easy for everybody.
And then you get your revenue 100%.
Exactly.
At the end of the month, every month.
Yes, at the end of the day, you would have
billions
made in so much more money put into the economy than anything else. Because this one, there is the tragedy of someone losing lives anyhow, because some people losing their lives anyhow because of jumping on the road and getting into the vehicles, and even some people have got into other people's vehicles and they will lock up and carry them and go and destroy their lives.
And the trend continues today.
It's still continuing.
You know, so
I pray that the government and people in authority should hear this and look for Michael Friday, because there is a whole lot he has that we want to access and to help in the well-being of Nigerians as a whole. Well, I must say thank you to you for being here, and because this is not going to be the last time we'll have you on this program, sir. Definitely we'll look for you for many more things. We have a lot to share with you, and you have a lot to share with us on the program. And this is the economy today. I know you know a lot about it. That's why I had to look for you. It took some time to get you anyway, but it's all paying off well, and we're happy about that.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you so much for being here. Well, dear viewer, this is how we'll be concluding today's package, and I want to say special thanks to him again, Michael Friday, who is an inventor, who is a scientist, and an engineer, of course, and he's a whole lot. He is a politician now. He's gone into that too, and he does a whole lot together. Being a philanthropist as well, we pray that he will find grace to continue. Let this nation not discourage such a great fellow. Thank you again, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you for being there, dear viewer. Thank you for being part of it. I wouldn't fail to say thank you, because without you, we wouldn't have been anything anywhere. Thank you for being there. I want to say again special thanks to Princess Ekeziokoli for being part of it, packaging, being part of the first packaging. Victor Adeyeye, our editor, Bright Chukwuebue, Bright himself, and the people who have worked with him. We have Timothy Obonna, and we have Yanyu Goji. We also have Ephraim Omuna, Blissful Capacity, and Kayode Pamileri. All of these fellows we put together to make sure that the best comes your way, even as it has happened. Let me not forget to thank Victor Chizea and, of course, Felix Akinjabula. I am leaving this place with the fact that I am happy that someone has come to help me explain these things better. We'll still bring someone else. And before we take our leave, finally, Esther Abraham, my assistant, and myself, Okechukwu Onubogu, we want to say we are grateful that you've been there for us. May the best happen to us all the time.